I think one thing that we've got entirely wrong as a culture is scolding young people for living a meandering life. Like if I look at my history, if I look at where I've come from and how long I've been working at trying to find my purpose, I realized that all of the roads that I saw as mistakes were actually blessings that were allowing me more information to figure out what I wanted out of my life. And like I've changed nappies. I was going to be a builder. I wanted to be a carpenter at one point. I was going to be a school teacher. I spent so long hounding myself for not having it all figured out. And the thing that I'm probably still realizing now is that there were no dead ends and there were no wrong moves because I kept moving. And I know we all feel this pain inside of us. Like, why can't I just have the thing that I know I want to do laid out for me on a silver platter? But that's not real. And it's so confusing because every step that we take feels like it will end, like it's irreversible. Every step holds with it the weight of 1,000 unsung futures that if we choose column A, we can't choose column B. And that's not real. It's not real because most things are reversible and most decisions you make in life are reversible, but they have this finality to them that makes us feel like we're just going to get it all wrong. And as someone that honestly couldn't think of their life to be any richer in a multitude of ways, I still have no idea most days about what I'm doing or where I'm going. But what I'm doing is enriching my life with things that fulfill me with a sense of joy or mastery or pleasure or love or acceptance or abundance. And it seems to be all working out. I think one of the things that I've learned in all of this is that, let's just say it takes you 50 jobs to figure out the thing that you want for yourself. Like on the 51st job or the 51st attempt at something new, you find your thing and it feels like play. And you get up in the morning excited to do the thing. Not every day, but you're content in the fact that your days are being spent doing this thing. If it took you 50 jobs to learn enough about yourself and what you like to make sense of the thing that you want to do for maybe many years to come, how quickly would you be failing at things? Because the fact of the matter is that that's the truth. There is no magic bullet that will serve to you on a silver platter the thing that you want. You iterate by failing, but they're not even failures. You iterate by walking down a path that interested you at one moment and drawing from it the things that you liked and the things that you didn't like. And then you end up in a place where you're doing more things that you enjoy than things you don't enjoy. But the easiest way to figure out what you want to do with your life is to figure out what you don't want to do with your life first. And the only thing that takes is courage. Because there is no telling where you could end up if you had the courage to try and try again. You could be in a place full of such abundance that you can't believe you're here when you look back on all of the roads that you've traveled. And you get there. You get to a point where you realize, wow, the majority of my days are being spent doing things I like, or at least are content in doing. Because being happy all the time is mania. Being in a sense of elation and euphoria and, goal-seeking behavior is mania. It's not real life. The goal is to be content in the process and the undertaking of what you're doing. And I think the way to do that is not through goal setting. I think the way to get what you want out of life is to figure out the way you want to live now, and I do that through values, but to figure out what it is you want out of your life in this moment, or how can I be acting in the moment in the week or in the moments in the week that make me feel like I'm there already. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who put it simply, I was not sure about whether or not I wanted to be a clinical psychologist, and it really ate at me because I was like, wow, I'm just going to be put in this box and I'm going to be just a clinical psychologist. And he said to me, you kind of have three options. The first option is you become just a clinical psychologist. And the second option, he said, is you sack clinical psychology and you become a cellist or a bricklayer or anything else of the sort. So, yeah, and he said the third thing you do is become an intermingling or an intermeshing of every experience you've ever had and psychology. And that's what will make a rich and fulfilling life. It's not being just a psychologist. It's about being a teacher and an educator and a learner and a student. We put ourselves in boxes trying to make it all fit, and it's not real. It sells us short. We don't want to be put in boxes. We want to be an oxymoron of contradictory things. I want to run marathons and climb mountains and rock climb and water ski and write poetry and sing loudly and be ridiculous in all the right ways. And that comes about through trusting that your own moral compass will guide you in the direction you want to go if you have the courage to try. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, right, is I don't fuck with goals. Not because I don't think they're important, but I don't fuck with goals because I don't fuck with goals because I think they are too focused on the outcome. And your life is not made up of outcomes. Your life is made up of an infinite number of small journeys. And if you're obsessed with the outcome, all you're doing is preparing for the next moment. And that's not living. The goal should be to have an infinite number of goals. But the goal should be to have an infinite number of micro goals. And those infinite number of micro goals are values. Because if goals are obsessed with the outcome, then values are obsessed with the journey. And your life is mostly journey. It's not mostly goal or goal achievement. So what you need to figure out is like, if it were really great, if I could have what I wanted and life were really great, what would I be doing in the day? Like, how would I be spending my time? Who are the people that I look up to that are doing things that I admire? Because it's so easy to think that you're going to get to the end of this thing and it's going to fulfill you in all of the ways that you don't feel fulfilled at the moment. And let me tell you, like, I just finished 8 years of study and I walked over the achievement of finishing a clinical master's like it was nothing. Like, there was no revelatory, and I'm disappointed in myself for this, really. Like, there was no revelatory experience that was like, whoa, I've done it. I think I cried in the car for a brief moment, realizing that, like, wow, I'm here. But in 4 hours, it was like it never happened. I just moved on with the next thing. So I've been focusing on this outcome for 8 years. And I got there and it was like a speck of dust on the timeline of my life. But I realized that what has filled my days and the richness of my experience and the quality of my life is making sure that I fill the moments that I am actually in with things that I love to do. One of the things that changed my life the most this year, I think, was stopping myself from saying yes to things out of guilt. We all say yes to things sometimes because we feel obliged to do those things. And it's not to be selfish, right? It's that, like, you should, if you're in a period of your life where you are feeling lost and uncertain, you should be saying yes to lots of things. But you definitely should be saying no to the things that you don't want to do. And you should put yourself in rooms where things that enthuse you are abundant. You only get one go at this. You only get one go at reaching for your set of stars. Why would you waste why would you waste the time that you have on this earth pretending to enjoy a mediocre view? You're worth so much more than that. And every decision you make doesn't have to carry the weight of a million missed opportunities. You can chart course and change course whenever you like. And hopefully you change course in the direction of something that you are more enthusiastic about. Because if you trust the moral compass inside you to direct you, and you haven't tainted it with lies and cheating and stealing and denial of yourself, that's the only thing that will direct you accordingly. This is why it's so important not to lie to yourself. I think it's actually more important not to lie to yourself than it is to lie to other people. Because when you lie to yourself, you chart a course that is misaligned with what you intrinsically know to be true. Lying to other people, you could nobody gets away with anything, but you when you lie to other people, it's not as, I actually don't think it's as significant as when you lie to yourself. Because the weight of lying to yourself sits in your solar plexus in the middle of your chest every bloody day. When you inflate your salary, when you exaggerate your standing or what you've done, it makes you feel smaller. And you should be proud of exactly where you are. And there is no shame in not having it all figured out. The only shame to be found is not trying to continue figuring it out. And if you live in accordance with these types of things that you know to be true to you, there is no telling what doors will open. And you will end up in a place which which feels like a garden that you have tended to yourself, even though at the time it was laborsome work. But there is nothing in this world that is worth having that doesn't take hard work to get. Because if it's handed on a platter to you, you don't appreciate it. And the journey that you trudged forthrightly towards in the hope that it would work out will end you up in a place that you get to call your own. And no matter who helped you along the way, it will be yours. And you should find pride in that. I love this quote by Naval, who says, "If you're so smart, why aren't you happy?" Because the only true test of success in life is getting exactly what you wanted. And if what you wanted is a small plot of land with 2 cows, 4 dogs, a wife, and 2 kids, you've won. Seneca says, "You ask what are the limits to a man's wealth. First, having what is essential, and second, having what is enough." And if your level of enoughness is far, far, far less than other people, it does not take very much for you to feel fulfilled. And your goal should not be to add as many things as possible to make your life feel abundant. It should be to remove the things that were laid upon you that made you not feel enough at the start. For so long, I told myself that there was nothing that I could do that would make me enough in this world. Every small micro label that I had attached to my back or that other people had pasted upon me had me believe that there was nothing that I could do that would amount to enoughness. And now I'm at a stage that realizes that the only determinant of enoughness is you, is the okayness that you find in the small moments with the people around you and the things that bring you a sense of joy or pleasure or mastery. Achievement is a part of that, but if I can gain if I can feel immense achievement at the smallest of goals, I'm winning an infinite number of times. I suppose that's what gratitude is. Love you.